Report Network has a new and exclusive line of clothing. First up, the Jiu-Jitsu Rash Guard. This isn't just gear, it's a statement. A commitment to eco-friendly battles on the mats and waves. And for those who live by the bold champion spirit, we have something special. A line for men and women designed not just for the fight, but for life. Wear our bold champion spirit of Jiu-Jitsu Rash Guard confidently. Its striking design with golden figures in combat honors the enduring spirit of competition in martial arts. Pair it with our unisex mesh shorts, the perfect combo of style, comfort, and eco-conscious design for the modern warrior. And don't forget, our Jiu-Jitsu Bold Champion Spirit leggings. This attire is expertly engineered to channel the champion spirit in every move you make. Together, it's not just about looking good. It's about feeling the part and living the Jiu-Jitsu way, both on and off the mats. Meticulously crafted for the yoga studio, the gym, and beyond, blending style, comfort, and the heart of a champion. Wear your passion, embody sustainability, and elevate your practice. Join the league of athletes who wear their values as proudly as their belts. It's more than clothing, it's a way of life. Ringside Report Network, where champions dress for success, sustainability, and the spirit of the sport.
Attention to all professional wrestling fans and followers of the legendary Johnny Genesis North. We are releasing a must-have collection of Johnny North merchandise in our store at merch.ringsidereport.net, starting with our limited edition Johnny Genesis North 3/4 sleeve t-shirt. With a unique design capturing Johnny in action, this tee exudes raw energy and intensity through its versatile 3/4 sleeves for any weather. Stand with our legendary co-host, Johnny North. Make a bold statement in the wrestling community by getting yours today, exclusively at merch.ringsidereport.net.
Get ready to amp up your betting game with Ringside Report Network's latest knockout offer. We've teamed up with our pals at Bet99.com to bring you something that will shake up the betting world. Dave's Picks with boosted odds. Here's the lowdown. Normally you see odds like -200 over at Bet99, right? Picture this. We hit up our buddies at Bet99 and worked out some magic. Suddenly those odds? They're looking a whole lot sweeter at -150. That's right, and we're all about getting you those exclusive, juiced-up odds, only for the Ringside Report universe. So here's the game plan. We dish out the picks, and you keep those eyes peeled. You might see a number on Bet99, but hold up. Wait until Saturday morning rolls around. Thanks to those boosted odds we've snagged for you, those numbers will look much better. I'm all for Bet99 doing great, but let's not kid ourselves. We want to win big too. It's all in good fun, and hey, it's part of the thrill of the game. They're in on it, and we're in on it. It's all about having a blast while pocketing some extra cash. Ready to take advantage of those boosted odds? Go to the special Ringside Report Bet99 link on your screen. We're all about seeing how much we can boost the odds for you, our loyal viewers. And a huge thank you to Bet99 for their support of the Ringside Report Network.
Yes, indeed. It's the AEW Double or Nothing review show. Let's review it.
Start.
Yes, indeed. We are live on a Monday night wrestling talk with Johnny. What up, Johnny?
How much, Dave? Enjoyed last night's pay-per-view without question. Highly enjoyable, worth the $50, I thought. And I think it continued a good streak that they're on of having good pay-per-views for 2024.
Yeah, another incredible pay-per-view from All Elite Wrestling. They deliver once again. And, you know, we talked about it on Saturday afternoon after watching the WWE's King of the Ring effort. WWE may have the pageantry, they may have the storylines, the cohesive stories, that they build well and they have good in-ring segments and promos and all of that stuff. But AEW, that's where the wrestling is. And on these pay-per-views, that's where the wrestling shines. And, they had some solid stories going into this one. They had some good promos going into this one. They have some solid characters on this program. And they have some great professional wrestlers in their locker room. And they delivered once again. And that's what AEW continues to do every time they go out there and have a pay-per-view. They hit it out of the park. It was another home run last night. Perfect. Great pay-per-view. Score on 10, Johnny North. I want to let you start us off. My score is going to be pretty high. I think the last one I gave maybe an 8.5 or a 9. This one's going to be, it's going to be over a 7. I'll tell you that much. It was excellent. Another excellent show from AEW.
Well, I'll agree over a 7. I still think Dynasty was a better show, but this was good too, though. It's just there were some parts I wasn't a huge fan of, but for the most part, this is still a good show, and I'd give it a 7.5.
Dynasty was very good. Hard to beat because we had that Will Ospreay Bryan Danielson match that was match of the year. I don't think we saw anything on this pay-per-view that could compare to that, right?
And Swerve and Joe I thought was very good too.
Yeah. But I thought we had comparable matches to Swerve and Joe on Double or Nothing. I thought Swerve and Christian was very good.
I thought it was good, but I didn't feel like it had the same kind of drama that Swerve and Joe had. Maybe because, he won the title. I think that kind of helped a lot. But I just felt maybe it's just the placement where that was in the match, because I felt the energy kind of was drained a little bit after the Mercedes Willow match, that it took a while for people to get into Swerve and Christian.
7.5 on 10 for Johnny North. I think I'm going to give this one a solid 8 on 10. Really solid effort from AEW top to bottom. I was entertained. I was shocked. I was amazed. Right? We saw everything. We saw blood. We saw thumbtacks. We saw dice. We saw flamethrowers, people getting lit on fire, people flying off things, the final countdown. We saw it all. New champions crowned. Big returns. Massive news out of AEW this weekend. MJF is back. Just that, off the top. Come on. MJF is back, attacks Adam Cole. Adam Cole cuts an in-ring promo. MJF comes out, beats him up, leaves him laying, kicks him out of the ring, then cuts a promo about being back and all this stuff. Great to see MJF back, revealing a Bet on Yourself tattoo with an AEW poker chip on it, saying that he is here to stay. He's not going anywhere when it comes to his contract status in All Elite Wrestling. So MJF obviously has re-signed a new deal, probably a long-term deal, and he doesn't intend on going anywhere. Staying with AEW with an AEW tattoo on his calf. I know some people don't love the tattoo. They think it could have been a better design, a better like the drawing of the poker chip isn't great, but I was happy to see MJF come back. Looked in amazing shape. I didn't love the tattoo, but I'm not a big tattoo guy anyways. But I did talk to a buddy of mine who saw the tattoo and is a wrestling fan. He was like, that tattoo's no good. He could have got a better tattoo. I was like, I don't know. Looks like a tattoo to me. John, thoughts on MJF's tattoo?
Well, it's not something you're going to see all the time. I mean, he wears wrestling boots. So it's going to be hidden. Even if he went to WWE, you wouldn't even see it. So, I mean, it's nice that he got it. It was cool for that little moment. But it's not like, oh, he has to be in AEW now because he has an AEW tattoo. I mean, you can hide that easily.
That's true. Or you could get it removed. You can get neck tattoos removed. Tattoos right here that say Sarah on your neck. They could disappear over time. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, well, tell Cody that, yeah. See how that works out.
Well, I'm sure his friend Undertaker could tell him. Whatever happened to that Sarah tattoo? Remember when he showed up one day and he just had Sarah tattooed across his neck and you're like, geez, brother, hope it works. And then it didn't, and then he had to have it removed. Undertaker.
Tough man.
Yeah, he is tough. So 7 on 10, or 7.5 on 10 for Johnny North, 8 on 10 for me. Alex Tarras in the chat giving it an 8.5 on 10. Patrick Deneau, 8 on 10 sounds good to me. A packed show. Thank you, Patrick. Member of the team, Patrick Deneau, over at membership.ringsidereport.net. Great supporter of the show. Thank you, Patrick. Angelo Contagonis as well. Jumping in over at join.ringsidereport.net. He says Statlander turning on Willow was a shock. It was indeed. I did not see that one coming. A lot of things I did not see coming on this pay-per-view, which is what I'm looking for on a wrestling show. Some surprises. So high marks for AEW's Double or Nothing overall. I'm seeing 7.5, 8, 8.5. It was a good show. It was a very good show. What was your match of the night, though, John? I think that's a tough one.
Very tough.
Right? It is tough to choose one because everything was good, but I'm not sure anything stood out above the rest. I think everything was really good and action-packed and wild. Some were better than others, right? Like some matches, I didn't think Orange and Trent, was match of the night. I thought it was good.
I think it was bad.
Well, that's it. I didn't think it was a bad match. I thought it was a good match. But match of the night, on a night where we had that Edge and Malakai Black match, which I think is in contention. I thought Chris Jericho Hook and Shibata was a lot of fun. I throw that in there. I really liked Toni Storm and Serena Deeb. I thought that was excellent. Will Ospreay and Roderick Strong was a very good match. John Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita was excellent. Hard-hitting match. Sasha Banks and Willow Nightingale was good. Swerve and Christian was good. Anarchy in the Arena was bananas. That was really good. It's hard to pick a favorite. It's hard to say match of the night. It's hard to say that one match stood out above the rest. Difficult. I might go with Toni Storm and Serena Deeb. I thought it was a very good match. Toni Storm just keeps getting better and better. Every match she has is excellent.
It's funny. I thought it was good, but I thought Mercedes and Willow was better, though.
No, I like Toni and Serena better. Too much outside shenanigans. And I mean, yeah, I don't know. It was very good, though, too. That's the thing. It's hard to even pick what was the better women's match on the card. Because Sasha Banks pulled off some sequences that were very impressive. Like, she pulls off some moves that very few people in the world are hitting, especially with the fluidity that she hits them with. It's really impressive stuff. Like Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, 97 type stuff.
She's very good.
Yeah, she is really, really smooth in the ring. And to see her back in the ring doing her thing was very nice. I liked that match a lot, too. But the shenanigans after the match I felt, took my attention away from the moment. That's
not the match, though. That's not fair to the match.
I know, but it kind of made me forget a little bit about the match because of all the after stuff happening. When that's the last thing you see with Willow, you kind of go, oh, yeah, Sasha won that match. But Sasha's long gone with the title, and we're left with, Stokely got mad at Willow for losing, and then Willow pushed Stokely, and then
Actually,
Statlander.
Statlander pushed Stokely.
Oh, did she?
And then made it. Yeah. Then they walked away together with Willow.
Right.
Statlander walked away with Willow, and then turned on her.
Mm-hmm. Statlander turning on Willow, to me, was a shocking moment of that whole segment. I figured Sasha was going to win the title. Mercedes Monet.
Yeah, to me, that hurt the pay-per-view, actually. It's like, I thought it was a little too much. If anything, I thought AEW tried to do too much for this show. And I get the idea is that they want to throw everyone out there because they want people to get their money's worth. And we got that, but I felt it was overbooked. I thought this heel turn should have been saved for like Dynamite or like maybe a later date or something. Like, I just felt at this point in time, like you said, just the title change, that was enough.
Yeah.
Have that turn later on because it kind of took away a little bit. And I don't think it actually helped the show.
I agree. I don't think it was necessary. I think you could have saved it for another time, but they wanted to do so much on this card. So Sasha Banks wins her AEW debut. Mercedes Monet wins her AEW debut. Beats Willow Nightingale. Willow had Sasha beat. Hit the powerbomb, but Stokely and Statlander were distracting the referee. It seemed like it was an accident at the time, but was it? Was it? Right? Given what happened afterwards?
Well, I believe Statlander and Stokely said we'll find out Wednesday. Because they did a promo backstage afterwards, and they said that we'll find out Wednesday.
Could Mercedes align herself with Stokely and Statlander, or is this a separate issue?
I don't know about you. The way it just seemed like, that was pretty much more of a face versus face kind of match. Like, yeah, I think the crowd was cheering more for Willow, but I think they're okay with Mercedes staying a face, though. And that's why they had that separate. They had her walk out, and then they did the turn. I think Mercedes is still going to do her own thing. I think she's probably going to still be a face, especially because it seems like they're hyping her and Saraya, who seems to be a heel.
Yeah, and that would be a cool match. I would love to see that. That's a dream match for sure, Sasha Banks and Paige. I'm really happy to see Sasha Banks back wrestling. It reminds you of how great she is, right? Seeing that match, it's like, oh yeah, she is excellent, and she's just going to be such a force for AEW in that division. A tremendous addition. If she can stay healthy, which I have no reason to think she won't be able to, she is going to be very, very big for AEW. So, huge signing for them, and honestly, it didn't feel like a big signing until last night. All the promos, all the entrances, like, it was fine. But once you saw her wrestle, you're like, oh yeah, there it is. That's what we want to see. Because that's what she does best. Her promos are fine, her entrances are cool, whatever, but the entrance last night was actually very cool with the drummers and the dancers and all that stuff. That was cool. But the wrestling is what she does best. She's a great wrestler. And she becomes a TBS champion on her first night in AEW. First night, first match, wins a title. Has anybody else done that?
I don't think so.
No,
I mean,
right?
they only established that recently where it's the TNT title and the TBS title. They're pretty much open challenges. So you don't need to be ranked to face for those titles.
Okay.
But other titles, I think you have to be somewhat ranked. At least for the world titles, you have to be ranked. So I don't think anyone's really come in. No one's really come in and won the TNT title. That'd be the only opportunity.
Right.
No one's ever really done that. So
no one has won a title on their first night in their first match, and now Sasha Banks, Mercedes Monet, does it. First night in AEW. Good for her. She deserves it. She's awesome. Can you pick a match of the night? I don't think I can pick one. I really don't. I don't know. I would say Toni Storm and Serena Deeb, but I don't know. And honestly, it might be Jericho, Hook, and Shibata, but Moxley and Takeshita was really good. Like, I don't know, man. Edge and Malakai Black was bananas. You might have to go with that.
Well, for me, it was kind of between two matches. One match you just said was Edge and Malakai Black. Like, that definitely was up there. But I think I may have enjoyed Ospreay and Roderick Strong more. I think that was my match of the night.
It was very good. Will Ospreay hits the Stormbreaker to become the new AEW International Champion. 2 title changes on this show, Ospreay and Monet. Don Callis on commentary encouraging Ospreay to use the Tiger Driver, but Ospreay refused. Didn't need to. Looked like he was setting it up, but instead hit the Stormbreaker and got the win on Roderick Strong. It was good. I don't know.
I thought the reversal, like, he did the end of Heartache, like Roderick Strong's backbreaker finisher. He reversed that into the hidden blade. That was just a tremendous sequence how that all came together to lead up to the finish. I just thought there were some great maneuvers, and the fact that, again, Will Ospreay almost killed himself for us, was amazing.
Yeah, he's incredible. He's amazing. He's the new AEW International Champion. I'm not going to argue with you, John. It was a great match. I'm going to say my match of the night is Toni Storm and Serena Deeb. I thought that was excellent. The pile driver off the second rope, followed by the second pile driver to get the pin. I mean, what a finish. That second rope pile driver was nuts.
Yeah.
When do you see that?
Disagree.
When do you see anybody hitting that move? A pile driver off the second going backwards? Jeez. It was scary.
Last time I can think of was ECW, so it's been a long time. I thought, again, very, very good match. I thought at some points it felt like they got lost, or I think maybe Serena stiffed Toni. Toni didn't know where she was, so it felt like they had to get back on track for a little bit. That can happen. They're so good that it was really hard to notice that, so it didn't take much away from the match. But I also felt the fans kind of hurt the match too, because they didn't really care at all about Serena. So that kind of hurt. They cared about Toni, but Serena didn't get much reaction whatsoever. So that hurt a little bit.
But they love Toni Storm. And how could you not? Everything she does is so good right now. And after seeing last night with Rhea Ripley on the shelf, I think you'd be crazy to say that Toni Storm is not the number 1 women's wrestler in the world today.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple weeks now. Yeah, it's arguable, obviously, but still, I think she has to be in the conversation.
I don't think you can argue it anymore. After last night, I don't see an argument. Who's in the conversation? As far as doing big things at their peak right now, having big matches consistently, compelling stories, who?
Well, are we talking about all of wrestling here or AEW? I mean, AEW, I don't think there's any competition.
All of wrestling
here. Becky's still very good. I know she might have her last match in WWE for a while, but still, she's still very good at what she does.
I think Toni's a step above, though, right now. In the ring, she's having better matches.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I think some people would disagree with you on that one. I'm just saying, Toni's up there without question. I thought that anything with Mariah May, that was a little too spicy, the way that was done. But
I loved it.
It felt like this some scissoring almost. But yeah,
it did look like they were about to scissor on the ramp. It was crazy. I loved it. It's part of Toni's gimmick, man. She's very sexual.
Very mature show it was, without question.
Yeah.
They really pushed the envelope.
That's what they do. It's AEW, brother. It's like Attitude Era Wrestling. If Toni Storm's going to lie there on the ramp, Mariah May is going to drape her leg over hers, and they're going to wrap legs. It's going to get real spicy. Real spicy. Good God Almighty. So Adam Cole, MJF comes back. You got to figure MJF and Adam Cole is next, but it's a matter of time before MJF goes for that world title. MJF and Swerve is the match. I don't know when it happens, but you know it's going to happen.
Well, Forbidden Doors in Long Island, right? So MJF's got to have a big match there. but it's also Forbidden Door. So it's like, are you putting him in the title match right away?
No.
Or is he going to wrestle someone from New Japan?
I think MJF at Forbidden Door maybe wrestles Adam Cole, maybe waits for All In to do it. The match might happen at All In. MJF might not wrestle at Forbidden Door. I know that they're going to do a casino gauntlet match on Dynamite this week to determine the number one contender for Swerve in the world title at Forbidden Door. They're not wasting any time.
Now that's the match that we saw how Ospreay became the number one contender for the international title, right?
Oh my God, that stupid match.
Yeah, I think it's that.
I think you're right. You're right. Goodness. Cool. So that's happening.
So what? Tanahashi's going to win that one
on Dynamite. Who? Tanahashi?
He was there at the press conference.
Yeah. Why not? Tanahashi and Swerve? That'd be cool. Naito, maybe? Where's Tetsuya Naito?
You would think Naito might wrestle Moxley, because didn't Moxley beat Naito for the title, so you get the rematch?
Could Naito take it back at Forbidden Door?
I could definitely see that.
Well, I'll tell you who won't be getting a title shot. That's Konosuke Takeshita. He lost to Jon Moxley. Moxley hit the Death Rider DDT to get the pin. Good match. Hard hitting. Takeshita's a real good wrestler. Moxley's real solid in there. They went out and they just had a knockdown, drag out pro wrestling match. I really enjoyed it. It's very good stuff there. No, nothing extra in this. No weapons, no blood. I mean, everybody was using weapons on this card. Everybody was bleeding. Everybody was doing all sorts of stuff. And these guys stayed in the ring, hit each other hard, and had a kick-ass wrestling match. It was refreshing.
Well, I was a little concerned about my pick because I picked Moxley to win, but we made our picks before Collision happened, and they did an angle on Collision where Konosuke broke Moxley's arm, and he came out all bandaged up, and I'm like, damn, I'm going to get screwed out of this because Moxley's going in with an injury. However, Moxley's strong enough he can get through all that, so luckily he got through. I mean, he's the champ. The way I looked at it, he was the champion. I didn't think, even regardless of its eliminator match, they're going to have the champion lose on pay-per-view.
That is a good point, and I think I picked Takeshita, right? Did I pick wrong there? I forget all my picks.
I think you may have picked him, yeah. But I mean, remember. If you think about it, again, going into it, it's because of what happened on Collision and Moxley being all bandaged up, you would have looked like you were in a pretty good spot there. But again, Moxley with the powerful booking.
Mm-hmm. The Bang Bang Gang beat the Death Triangle to retain the trios titles. Juice Robinson made his return, knocked Pac off the top rope to help his friends get the win. That was a solid match, too. Juice is back.
It was good. It just felt like they were kind of rushed. It felt like they were going very fast. But maybe it's for the best, because I don't think the match needed to be too long than what it was.
No.
I thought it was fine. It just felt kind of short. But also maybe because the first match felt long and they had the MJF promo. So maybe they felt like they had to keep that one short.
Yeah, they had to keep it moving. This was a long pay-per-view. It was 4+ hours.
See, I don't know about you, when I was watching it, I only really got tired around Swerve and Christian. So, for the most part, that's pretty, because that's midnight when that happened.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad. But still, it's still they're still in the match after.
I stopped watching after Moxley and Takeshita and went to bed. And then I woke up this morning and watched the rest.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, that's how I handled it. Orange Cassidy beats Trent Beretta. Trent afterwards was Renee tried to interview him, but he's like, I'm not doing this, I'm done. And then he left through the crowd. What's that?
Yeah, that's just that intrigue. What's he going to do now kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm hoping that it's over with him and Orange, because, Orange just beat him twice. So I don't think we really need to see this again. And if anything, it's good for Trent to kind of move on and do something else.
Yeah.
I guess Chuck Taylor's done, so that's pretty much the end of Best Friends, and hopefully Trent does something else.
Okay, I don't know. It was a weird little thing saying he's done and walking through the crowd makes me think he's leaving AEW or quitting wrestling. It was odd. Okay, I really liked the Chris Jericho, Hook, and Shibata triple threat match. I thought that was fantastic. Jericho dropping the bag of dice in the ring. Everybody bumping on dice was a nice touch in Las Vegas. Would you, I mean, I know you would bump on dice. I'm sure you haven't either, but what did you think of the dice bumping? Look painful to you, or what's worse, dice or Lego?
I think probably the Lego, just because they can become more sharp.
Yeah.
I would think, but this is where we differ. I wasn't a big fan of this match, to be honest. I thought it was okay, but it dragged at certain points because they had to set things up. I think it would have been better to have like Big Bill around to set things up, because like it took them a while to get everything all placed right. I didn't think they needed so many tables, but apparently they needed so many tables, and it just felt like the match kind of started and stopped a couple times. So I thought the match was just okay at best.
Man, I just loved all the car crashes. It was so crazy seeing them bump on dice. Everybody just taking suplexes on the dice. Shibata and Hook looks like they were just giving each other suplexes, like allowing each other to... It would look super fake, all the suplexes between those two. But the rest of it was just such a mess. The Death Valley driver that Shibata hit off the second rope with Hook onto Jericho, who was on the table, and the table doesn't break, and Hook nearly breaks his neck. I mean, that was fantastic. They all crumple and nearly die. I mean, Jericho almost died. Shibata almost died. Hook really came close to death on that move. Sometimes the table breaks and it's better. Sometimes it doesn't break, and it's like, wow, that was even better than if it had broken, because it looked way more deadly, way more dangerous, way more impactful. What a spot that was, John. It was a botch, but sometimes the botch is better.
Well, I saw it differently. I thought they took way too long to set that up. And I'm like, they better deliver on this. And I'm like, they did not deliver on that. If anything, and then...
Come on, Hook nearly died, man.
Yeah, but then Jericho at the end, he just puts in the corner and he gets shot into it. I'm like, well, that's how the match is. I mean, they're trying, but it's not working out too well.
Yeah, but sometimes I like that. I like it to be a mess. It was a violent mess. Your boy Big Bill came out eventually, and then he got suplexed off the apron through a table pretty quick, and that was funny. I like that. And then a guy came out. What? You didn't like that?
Well, I saw a lot of people saying he almost got impaled because the table leg came up.
Yeah.
But and this is something I don't think people understand. Like, he wouldn't have been impaled.
No.
He may have injured his back severely.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't have been impaled because, like, nothing was sticking out. The bar was there. It was not, like, broken or anything.
Yeah, it's a flat bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was broken bars, it would be different. But he would have been just more hurt. That's it. Not, like, bleeding everywhere.
It was a cool bump, though.
Well, I felt bad for him for that because I'm like, eesh, that looked like a rough bump. Because it's not easy for a big guy to take something like that as well.
I know. It was rough. And then a guy came out under a mask, and he started attacking Hook and Shibata, and then he revealed himself, and the crowd was like, who are you? It was...
I thought it was Scorpio Sky at first.
It was Brian Keith, the bounty hunter, who was in the triple threat match on Wednesday to qualify for this match. So he just showed up because he's a bounty hunter. He was helping Jericho collect a bounty or something. And then Jericho hit Judas Effect on Hook, but then pinned Shibata, who at this point had a garbage can wrapped around his head. And Jericho retains the For the World Championship. I liked it. I
like Jericho retaining, but in terms of like hardcore mess, I thought Edge and Malakai Black was far superior compared to this one.
Yeah. It was pretty nuts. They were all bleeding. Edge went off the top of the cage to do an elbow drop on Malakai Black through a table that just looked horrible on Edge's legs. God, the impact on his legs on that. Rough. It was a brutal, gruesome match. They both took crazy bumps. It's crazy to me that Edge is still doing this stuff.
He wants to.
Watching him last night, I go, God, how is he able to, though? The fact that he's able to still do this stuff is incredible.
Well, he trained for a while. Remember, he was out for quite a bit.
Well, yeah,
a few years.
Still, John, he retired. It wasn't like he took a vacation. He retired because his neck was busted. Now here he is getting like tackled and kicked out of the steel cage. All sorts of crazy stuff was happening. Buddy Murphy and Brody King came out at one point acting like they were going to side with Edge, but then they attacked Edge instead. They were beating up Edge, and then who came out from under the ring but Gangrel to save his old pal Edge. Of course, they had to be like, yeah, this happened in that company that we all hate. But we love so much of what they've done and the history of wrestling that they created, but we hate them so much now. It's like, all right. I don't love when they do when they use like WWE stories in AEW. It's weird. It's like, because if you have to explain it, you have to explain it through the lens of the WWE, which you shouldn't really be doing. You know what I mean? Like if you go, who is this guy? It's like, oh, he knows Adam Copeland. Does he? Who is he? He's Gangrel. Oh, he was with him? Yeah, they were in a group. Oh, yeah, where was this? It was the WWF. The what? You know?
The defunct organization.
Yeah, you know? It's that disgusting promotion that pervert Vince McMahon used to run. It doesn't exist anymore. Oh, okay. Cool. AEW, that's the only wrestling there is now? Yep. Yeah. That's right.
Well, it's not
There's
WWF
a lot of people.
anymore, right? So it's
That's right.
not a lie.
Oh, it's all. Yeah, WWE doesn't exist. Anyways, it was just weird with Gangrel. Like, it's cool. I get what they're doing. I don't hate it. I like that he's getting a payday, but it's just like, what is this? And Edge beat him with the crossface with barbed wire. Choked him out. Edge wins. Retains the TNT title. It was very good. Easily could be match of the night. Great stuff.
Oh, it was number 2 for me, without question. And I think the reason they did this, because Edge said he wanted Gangrel back with him. Remember, like, when he wrestled Finn, I think, in Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania? He wanted Gangrel there. But he was told that, no one will remember Gangrel. Like, we shouldn't do that. Nobody cares about that. I think people cared. I think they kind of showed how much they remember. It's hard to forget stuff now with the internet.
Everybody knows Gangrel and the Brood. It was Edge, Gangrel, and another guy. What happened to that guy? Oh, yeah. He was wrestling for the world title. He had a great match, too. The Brood was kicking ass at Double or Nothing, right? Kind of cool.
What's cool is I'm going to see Gangrel. We're going to be on a show together in November. So I'm going to ask him about that, like if he has any heat with somebody in WWE, because that's what I'm thinking is the thing. Like I don't think either Vince or Triple H likes him for whatever reason, or had heat with him back in the day.
Huh.
Because why would you think that way? Like no one likes him or no one remembers him. Like that's kind of a dumb response when you have like the WWE Network, you have like so much things you can look back on. Everyone remembers everything now, like looking back at the Attitude Era. And he was a huge part of that, Gangrel. I just think they didn't like him.
Maybe he had an issue with Hunter. Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows? Christian had his match with Swerve. A lot of outside interference going on there. Christian's got his whole patriarchy group. Mother Wayne took the title belt, was going to use it, but then Prince Nana took it from her. But Nick Wayne alerted the referee to this, and then the referee ejected Prince Nana, who was holding the title belt like the hot potato, and he had to leave. Eventually, though, Nick Wayne, his mother, and the Luchasaurus all got ejected for trying to interfere in the match. Swerve did a crazy bump on the stairs. I wish they would have shown a replay of what happened to Swerve. He got knocked off the apron, you heard a thud on the stairs, but you didn't really see what happened to him exactly.
I think he barely hit the stairs from what it looked like. I think that's why they didn't replay it.
Yep. You heard a sound, but you didn't actually see the impact. And then Nick Wayne hit an RKO out of nowhere. Nick Wayne came back after being ejected. And then Christian hit the kill switch for a 2 count. I thought that was a very good false finish, though. I mean, you take a big bump off the apron onto the stairs. Then your guy hits an illegal move. And then you hit your finisher. And 1-2, Swerve kicks out. Good false finish. I thought, oh, what the hell? For a second there, they almost had me, John. They almost had me. I did not think Swerve was going to lose, but when he took all that stuff, I was like, what? Is he hurt? You know? But no, he kicked out and eventually hit his double stomp and running kick thing, the, I don't know what it's called, to retain the
House
AEW
call.
World Championship. What's it called?
I think it's called the house call.
House call, there you go. And then he celebrated with Floyd Mayweather, who was ringside for some reason. I don't know what Floyd was doing there, but maybe he's there to see Swerve.
He's friends with Swerve.
Really?
That's what Swerve said afterwards, yeah. And they've been working on this for a while, apparently, and apparently Floyd was quite impressed, and we might see more Floyd in AEW.
He's friends with Swerve is friends with Floyd Mayweather?
Yep.
That's odd. Okay. Well, maybe we will see Mayweather in AEW. I don't think he's that busy. He's got a history in pro wrestling. Why not? He'd be a good name to bring in, right?
Undefeated in pro wrestling, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's right. Is it time for the rematch? Where's Big Show?
I don't know if he's healthy. I don't know. He still got slammed through the car. We haven't seen him since then.
Yeah, but can he get healthy and have a rematch with Floyd? Revenge. Big Show's revenge.
It'd be fun.
It would be. How about that Anarchy in the arena? It's pretty
It was something.
pretty crazy. Yeah, it was not my match of the night. It was not your match of the night. I don't think it's really in the discussion because it wasn't really a match. It was just a series of stunts, right?
It was a series of stunts and moments,
Yeah.
I thought.
But it was entertaining. Like, it was fun to watch, but it was like you can't really define it as a wrestling match. Like, it had some elements of pro wrestling, but it was a spectacle. It was Anarchy in the arena, brother. It wasn't like Moxley and Takeshita. I thought their match was more kind of straightforward, hard-hitting pro wrestling. I thought it was the most straightforward, hard-hitting pro wrestling match we had. Ospreay and Roderick Strong, too, but I really liked Moxley and Takeshita. I think maybe it just kind of was better than I thought it would be, but I was really impressed with it. Moxley's
So that's your match. That's your match tonight. Oh, shout out to Andy, by the way. Cool, Andy's watching us.
No, I think I'm going with Toni Storm and Serena Deeb as my match of the night, just because of that finish. It was so insane. That pile driver off the second rope was great, and I really liked the match, and I'm just such a fan of Toni Storm's. She's just so good in the ring. Her matches just get better and better. Her match with Thunder Rosa at the last pay-per-view was excellent. I thought this one was really good, too. I look forward to everything she's doing. So I'm going with Toni Storm.
Great.
Toni Storm and Serena Deeb is my match of the night. Your match of the night was Roderick Strong and Will Ospreay. But I think, you could pick a lot of matches for match of the night. Last pay-per-view, Dynasty, was easier to pick a match of the night, right?
Well, yes. 'Cause, I mean, that match of the year candidate, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know if we had a match of the year candidate tonight.
No. I don't think we did. But it was way easier to pick a match of the night last time because Danielson and Ospreay was just so incredible. This show, harder, so we're split on what the match of the night is. The Anarchy in the arena match started, no entrances for the AEW team. They just jumped the Elite on their entrance. And it was Darby's entrance. Darby got music, and then Darby's music played for a while. And then Matt Jackson cut the music and then wanted to play his own theme song. And that played for a bit while they fought. And then Bryan Danielson cut that. He got on the mic and was like, play the best wrestling theme song. And then they played the final countdown, and that was pretty cool. And then they brawled all over the arena
moments.
while the final countdown played, which was cool.
Like, in terms of just, like, atmosphere, like, that felt like it was one of the best moments that we've seen in AEW this year. I just felt the crowd right there was into it.
Yeah.
And for me, like, it kept me more awake. I'm like, wow, when that started playing, I kept going with my hand, like, slapping like crazy. Like, damn, like, I gotta keep slapping this because this hurts now. Like, it was a good moment.
It was very cool. And I liked that Darby was able to sink his coffin drop off the crowd into a bunch of dudes to the moment where the guy goes, "It's the final countdown," and then Darby does the coffin drop. That was cool. Right? That was nice.
Well, I saw fan cams of that. Like, when you saw that on pay-per-view, then you see the fan cams of that. People actually living the moment. Like, wow, like, that's... If I was there live, I would never forget that. To me, that would be like the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it did look like a big party for the live crowd. We should go to one of these shows and see an Anarchy in the arena. It does seem like fun, right?
Well, AEW should do a pay-per-view in Montreal, without question. We asked for it. They should give it to us.
I think Tony Khan said he was going to do it, but I don't believe him. They brawled all over the place. Darby tried to drown Jack Perry in a bucket of ice. I thought that was a nice touch. So he started the Death Games.
That was done on purpose, though, because we had to be wet, right? For later?
Yes, Jack Perry had to be all wet. But it wasn't water that he was wet with later on. We'll talk about it. Perry hit Darby with a truck, and then he knocked himself out on the wheel. So Darby was in like a pile of garbage, and then Jack Perry took a truck and ran it into Darby, and then seemed unconscious when the camera went to him because he had knocked himself out on the steering wheel, I guess. He did return to the match, thankfully.
He did not die.
He did not die. Neither did Darby. Darby got hit by a bus and did not die. Jungle Boy knocked himself out with in a car wreck and survived. Only to, later on, Darby got power-bombed onto a bed of chairs, and then the Young Bucks dumped his body into an elevator on the stage, into a elevator hole. And I thought, oh, maybe they're going to throw like bombs in it and explode Darby. But no, they just left him there. And then eventually Darby showed up with a flamethrower and then lit Jungle Boy on fire with the flamethrower. Now, Jungle Boy was all wet, but I think he was wearing that, like, there's like some wet kind of plasticky stuff that stunt guys wear on their bodies so that, they don't burn up. You can be lit on fire with that stuff, and it seemed pretty clear the Jungle Boy was, like, glistening with that fire stuff so he could do the stunt. But it was quite a stunt. You don't see wrestlers lit on fire very much on TV, and that was pretty nuts that Darby lit Jungle Boy on fire with a flamethrower during this wrestling match. And then the Young Bucks, of course, were right there waiting for the spot and had the fire extinguishers ready to extinguish their buddy Jack Perry. It was weird that the Young Bucks were hanging by the side of the stage with fire extinguishers for like a while, and then Darby came out with a flamethrower, and I'm like, oh, okay. Why did the camera show them? Right? That was a bit of a mess up. They screwed that up a little bit. You see the Bucks with the fire extinguishers, and you're like, what are they doing? And then you see Darby with a flamethrower, and you're like, oh, what's going on? And then he lights Jungle Boy on fire, and then the Bucks extinguish him.
Well, I think because Jack Perry had to go get Tony Khan, right?
Yeah.
And when he went to get him, there was like a delay for whatever reason. And like it took him a while to get through. Like Darby was there ready in the spot before they were. Darby had to walk back to get back into the spot.
Yeah.
Because they weren't where they were supposed to be. So yeah, that I don't blame the camera guys so much as in Jack and Tony, like, for whatever reason, were taking too long. And another thing too with that whole like flamethrowing spot, Tony's right there too. Like that could have been really bad. I'm glad it didn't, but like it's very close there.
It would have been cool if they, for a shoot, lit Tony Khan on fire.
I'm glad he didn't get hurt. I don't think, I think Jack more than likely practiced that.
Yeah.
I think there's videos of him practicing that actually. So like that's fine. I thought it was a little dangerous that Darby kept putting him on fire. Like it wasn't just one shot with the gun; it was like multiple shots with the gun. I'm like,
yeah,
that better be some good spray that he's got on, because damn,
it was pretty cool.
it's quite the visual.
Yeah, it was great though, right?
I'm amazed that you let your kids watch that. Like, I don't know if that's good for your kids to watch that, to be honest. I think it's a bad thing for them to watch.
My son was
Like,
watching something else. I was watching it on my phone, and I was like, oh, look at this. And I was like, oh, what's Darby got? And it was like, oh, it's a flamethrower. And then he lit Jungle Boy on fire, and he was like, what the hell? I was like, yeah, it's crazy. I think it's fine. It's all a show. You know, people are lit on fire all the time. No big deal.
As long as they know.
It's all pretend, man. They know it's all pretend. They're all friends in the end. Anyhow, Darby got hung above the ring like a piñata. They just didn't stop. Like, they lit Jungle Boy on fire, and then they did more match for like 10 more minutes. What?
Well, if you noticed, Darby's hurt throughout the whole match. Like, remember, like he's got a broken foot, he's got a busted nose, so they got to work around that the whole match. And I thought they did a good job doing that. Like, Darby's a huge part of this match without really doing much.
I mean, he was hogtied from the center of the arena, from the rafters, and then hung up above the ring and super kicked repeatedly in the face with thumbtack shoes. They treated Darby like a human piñata. And then Danielson came back, and he took over, and he was beating everybody up, and then he tried to bring Darby down, but then Jack Perry, with a running knee to the face of Danielson, pins Bryan Danielson to win it for the Elite, 1, 2, 3, in the middle of the ring. How come Danielson had to be the one to get pinned? Couldn't it be one of the FTRs?
Well, if you realize, like, Danielson's lost every pay-per-view match this year, I think that's going to be his thing, is that he always loses on pay-per-view now. Jobber the Danielson, that's his name now, I think. But I noticed a lot of people were upset about Darby being hung up there because Martha Hart was there, and they felt that it was too close to what Owen Hart would happen with Owen.
Not really.
But I think that's people like you're just looking for excuses at this point to complain, because like that wasn't even anywhere near what happened to Owen or anywhere close to that. Like, we've seen in many different places where people get like hung up somewhere. Stone Cold got hung up on a cross or something, I'm not mistaken. Like, The Undertaker got hung up on they used to always hang up people up stuff, even after Owen died.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't think that was offensive.
I was. It's not offensive, but just because you tie someone up to something, they hang a little bit. Like, it's not like Owen Hart, like them trying to relive it or anything like that. I don't know why people think like that, but I think some people are just looking at a way to nitpick about little things like that, sadly. And, you know, Owen Hart was a tragedy. Thankfully, in AEW, they can still celebrate Owen Hart.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not see any kind of offense, and the Elite get a big win there in the main event. I told you it was going to be the main event, Sean. Anarchy in the Arena had to close the show.
Like, I think we said that too in the end, like, because it's a mess of a match. I think Mercedes and Willow still should have been the last wrestling match that we saw, because to me, the crowd was possibly they were most into that match more than any of the matches besides Anarchy in the Arena. Obviously, that was its own little spectacle. But in terms of the wrestling matches, I thought Mercedes and Willow, they were more into that than Christian and Swerve. It took them a while to get into Christian and Swerve.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. Andy Burrows says, caught up on the AEW pay-per-view. That company won't be around in 10 years. I've seen this movie before. Wow, I guess Andy didn't like it.
What did you like, Andy?
I don't know. I'm surprised.
I'd love to hear his thoughts on this.
Yeah. Andy says MJF will see out his contract and then come to the big leagues. He's got an AEW tattoo, and he just signed a new contract. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. Ray Cruz wants to know, how long was the pay-per-view? 4 hours? I think it was just over 4 hours, right, John? You watched it live.
I think it was, well, the big thing, too, I didn't really watch the pre-show. I know what happened in the pre-show. I didn't really watch it. I think it was closer to 5 hours if you're counting the pre-show. So, Yes, very long. However, like, I didn't really feel tired until we got to the main event. And even in the main event, they woke me up pretty much with the final countdown and Darby trying to, flame up Jack Perry.
Yeah.
So moments
Lighting
like
a guy
that.
on fire is pretty cool. And, you can say whatever you want about the big leagues and WWE and everything, but I said at the top of the show, and I'll say it again here, the good wrestling, where the best wrestle, it's in AEW. I just saw a WWE show this weekend. I saw a WWE show in Saudi Arabia that cost millions of dollars. And I saw an AEW show in Las Vegas. The AEW show in Las Vegas blew that WWE Saudi Arabia show out of the water. Destroyed it. That King of the Ring show on Saturday was garbage. It was so bad that I go, come on, there must have been something wrong with these guys. They look lethargic on the show. It was like 37 degrees Celsius, which is super hot. They had to travel all the way to Saudi. There's jet lag. There's all this stuff. They run their people ragged, and then you wonder why the product absolutely stinks. That King and Queen of the Ring show sucked on Saturday. And AEW Double or Nothing was a home run. So we can talk about the big leagues and this and that, but I like to watch professional wrestling. And AEW gives me the better pay-per-views, the better premium live events, consistently. The better matches are in AEW. The better TV is probably from WWE. I think an average SmackDown is usually better put together, makes more sense than an average episode of Dynamite, at least these days. But you know what? On an average episode of Dynamite, you're probably going to see a couple kick-ass matches that you will not see in the WWE all week. But they're getting better, WWE. They're putting on some better TV and some better TV matches. So I think for TV, they're closer together as far as from a critical standpoint. Don't tell me about the business. Don't tell me about who's making money. I get WWE selling more tickets. I get they make more money. When people think pro wrestling, they think WWE. I get that. They don't know what AEW is. I get that. But as a pro wrestling fan, as a guy who's been watching pro wrestling his entire life, a guy who's been covering professional wrestling his entire adult life, and I mean that, my entire adult life. I started covering professional wrestling professionally when I was 20 years old. My entire adult life, I have covered professional wrestling. Almost 20 years covering this stuff. AEW is better in the ring than WWE. Right now. That's just the fact of the matter. But WWE sometimes gives me The Rock. And I like that a lot. So when they give me the final boss, well, they're doing well. But they haven't given me the final boss in quite some time. I'm getting a little bored. We'll see what Raw does in a couple of minutes. I guess it's on now. But we're not going to talk about Raw. We'll talk about Raw on Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right after SmackDown for Wrestling Uncensored right here on the Ringside Report Network. This has been a special. Johnny?
I just think in the end, Double or Nothing, you really saw the difference in terms of what we get from what WWE gives us. Like, I think we get a lot with AEW, maybe too much. And WWE, I don't think we're getting enough, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not just in terms of the matches, but in terms of, like, the surprises, in terms of, like, even the stories. I didn't feel like we were really fulfilled with King of the Ring. It really felt like it was a small taste of what they could really give us.
Yep.
AEW, if anything, they gave us a lot and a lot of good stuff. But I also feel they may have given us too much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where you don't really appreciate things as much. Like the Statlander heel turn. I don't think I really appreciated that much because it just felt like it was a small thing on a very big show. But it should be a big thing.
I agree. I think you're right. AEW sometimes gives us too much, possibly, and the WWE does not give us enough. But the WWE really doesn't give us enough. And I'd rather have too much than not enough, right? Because too much, it's like, oh my God, that was crazy. I don't know if I can handle all this. This was so much. Can I even process it? Can I remember it all? You know? But then, WWE, you watch and you're like, this is like watching paint dry. This is so boring. I just want it to end. So I'll take AEW's product over WWE's any day. Right now, current day, AEW is killing it. Since WrestleMania, AEW has been a better product than WWE. Since WrestleMania, when they lost The Rock, whole company's got the shit.
I think you can really tell that with AEW, like they're really trying for every show to make it like the next biggest show they've ever had, kind of thing. That's the feel for every pay-per-view we've had. It's like, this was great. Let's make the next one even better. Where WWE, it's like, okay, we're following this story. We're going to see it all the way through. And then to the next story and to that until finally we'll get to, like you say, The Rock coming back.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a down period right now. And you just kind of have to sit through that. And like you said, it can be like watching paint dry. It might be kind of rough. With AEW, it just feels like every show, pay-per-view wise anyways, it's like, this is the biggest thing you got to watch. And that's the mentality they have, I think.
Yeah, WWE has that Triple H mentality of like, give you nothing for a long time, bore you to tears with nothing, and then when you give us something, we're like, wow, that was amazing. That's how Triple H had his whole wrestling. That's Triple H's whole wrestling career.
The promo and match.
Yup. Gave you nothing. Bland, paint-drying wrestling. All right, we're not going to turn this into the McMahon-Helmsley era being the worst ever, but, you know, he sucked. He was terrible. Don't let anybody ever tell you that Triple H is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, because he wasn't. He basically sucked. Okay, guys, we'll be back Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time for more wrestling talk, and I'll be back Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Ringside Report MMA, where we have a big weekend because it's UFC 302 week. Dustin Poirier versus Islam Makhachev for the UFC Lightweight Championship coming up this Saturday. We're doing the watch-along. We're doing the damn thing. It's a massive pay-per-view from the UFC. UFC 302, Poirier versus Islam, and Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa in the co-main event. It's going to get nasty this week in the UFC, and we're previewing the show Thursday night, 8 p.m., and then doing the watch-along Saturday night, 10 p.m. Get ready. Big week right here in Pro Wrestling and MMA on the only place you need for pro wrestling and MMA, Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button. Flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next